And now let's shift over to Money with Murph.
Thanks, Scott. For this Money with Murph, I'm particularly excited. So when I think of the segment I'm going to run for each episode, I really try and think of what is practical and what's worth you knowing. Now, something I commonly see is clients hearing certain finance terms and jargon, and likely they've heard of them in the past, but really they may not know what they truly mean. And believe me, I understand that the finance industry loves to throw out terms to make themselves sound smarter. But my goal has been and always will be to try and minimize the jargon I use with clients and make the complex easy to understand. And I think Scott would agree that that's the approach he takes as well. I think that's the most
Absolutely.
effective way of communication with clients. But that being said, there are definitely some terms that even if you don't want to hear them from me, you will hear them, and it may be beneficial to have a grasp on generally what they mean. So I've compiled some common terms and jargons and their definitions that over the years, meeting with many clients, these are some of the common ones I see. And I put together a list of 5 for us to go through. So the first one, bull and bear markets. Why these types of markets were named after specific animals is beyond me. I'm sure there's some blog out there explaining why, but I've never searched it out. So what they are, they both indicate performance of the stock market. Bull markets are stock markets that go up, people are happy, people are making money. There's no official definition here, but typically people consider it to be a rise of 20% or more in the stock market. And these typically last 1 to 3 years on average. Bear markets are going to be the complete opposite of that. These are markets where stock prices are going down, investors are losing money, and they are typically also are defined by a 20% loss or more in stock prices. Our next terms, traditional and Roth. So traditional is commonly referred to as pre-tax, and Roth will be commonly referred to as after tax. So these are references to tax classifications, and they can be applicable to any account. When I mean any account, your IRA, your 401k, 403b, 457, whatever it is. Most plan options have a traditional and a Roth variation for you to choose from. Traditional pre-tax means that it reduces your income for the current tax year. And therefore, when you reduce your income, you're going to reduce your taxes paid. But this means that in retirement, when you take those funds out, those are going to be subject to income tax. So Roth is just going to be the complete opposite of this. You fund these accounts in the tax year with after tax dollars, meaning that you're funding it with money that you will pay taxes on for that current tax year. But the beauty of it is that in retirement, you're going to be able to take these funds out tax free, not pay a penny of tax on the contributions or the growth over that time. Our third terminology, ETF, stands for exchange traded funds. So, to give some context, these are going to be most similar to what you may think of as mutual funds. So, there's just a couple of slight variations, but ETFs are publicly traded. So, they allow you to purchase one share and get partial ownership of numerous companies that the fund owns. They come in all shapes and sizes. For example, an S&P 500 ETF would allow you to purchase one share of the ETF and get exposure to the 500 largest companies in America. Or there's, let's say, an artificial intelligence ETF. And by purchasing that one share of the ETF, you're getting exposure to numerous companies related to artificial intelligence. Our next terminology, RMD. RMD stands for Required Minimum Distribution. So RMDs are when the federal government forces you to take distributions out of your account in retirement. RMDs are applicable to traditional pre-tax accounts only, whether it's an IRA, a 401k, a 457, 403b, whatever it is. If it's a traditional account, there's going to come a point when you reach a certain age and the government's going to start forcing you to take money out of those accounts. It'll be either age 73 or age 75, depending on the year that you were born. And you're probably asking why. Why would they make me take money out of my account? And that's because, as you recall, when I previously stated, traditional, you're going to get a tax deduction in the year in which you contribute. So Uncle Sam did not get a tax bill from you when you put those funds into the account. And now he's ready to start collecting those taxes. So he's going to force you to take funds out of the account that will be taxable. And in turn, you're going to pay taxes on those funds. They start at about 3.5% and they go up every year. And that is the amount that you're required to withdraw from your account. Our final term, IRMA. So it sounds like a woman's name, but it's not. It's actually an acronym. It stands for Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. This is a measure of your income from 2 years prior that affects how much you and or your spouse will pay for Medicare Part B and D payments in retirement. So what does that mean? It means that Medicare is going to look at, for instance, for your 2025 Medicare payments, they're going to look at your 2023 tax return. So we want to keep that in mind. There are certain levels of income thresholds. Every time you cross a threshold with your income, your Medicare payments will go up accordingly. The first one currently is probably right about the end of the 22% federal tax bracket, which many of you are in. However, when it comes to Roth conversions, IRMA brackets are definitely something we want to be aware of and make sure that we're not causing your Medicare payments to increase. And that's 5 of the most common terms I hear clients not having a grasp on. There's so many more I could go through, but after meeting client after client, these are definitely some of the most common ones. If there's a term that you want answered, I'd be happy to do it. Shoot me an email and I'd be happy to see how I can help.
And that's Money with Murph. Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, great segment. I think that the terms that you listed are really common for clients to not understand. I think ones that really jumped out to me, bull bear markets, ETFs. I'm always surprised how many clients don't know what ETF really stands for. And we saw that become much more common over the past decade as people have shifted from mutual funds that were typically higher fees and more to ETFs that are lower fee, more passive structure. But there are active ETFs, there are passive ETFs, there are buffer ETFs, just a big family. IRMA is another huge one that people don't think about when they are in retirement or approaching retirement. You don't really need to be aware of it until you're 63. You'd think it would be 65 because at 65, that's when you have to worry about Medicare. But Medicare is going to look at your income from 2 years prior to calculate your premiums. And if your modified adjusted gross income's over, I think 192 or 194, you could be paying more income for your Medicare premiums. So this is important terminology to know and to know how it fits in your overall plan. I think with IRMA and your income when you get to Medicare, one of the biggest tips we have for people is if you're still working and you stop working, you're going to want to submit what's called a change of life event form to let Social Security and Medicare know, hey, I no longer have this job. My income's way different. I don't want to pay that extra premium. I think all important considerations. Stephen, thanks for bringing up these important items. That's Money with Murph.
Thank you.